And here we are. Welcome to another MyMusic. It's me, Graham Coath, and today I'll be speaking to the wonderful Kelsey Michael. Thanks for joining me. And and I presume you're in Cornwall, are you?
Yeah, I'm in Penzance.
Lovely Penzance. One of my favourite parts of the world. I shall tell you a little bit more about me and Cornwall, and you can tell me a bit about you and Cornwall as we come back after this.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
So, Kelsey, thank you for joining me. So my story with Cornwall is that my name, Coath, is Cornish.
I can hear that now.
Right?
Yeah.
And we originate from Penzance.
Mm-hmm.
And my ancestors were traders. They were boats people. And my family have discovered a book by one of the Coaths going back, and it's a logbook of this boy's time on the trading boat. It's a beautiful story, and I think that it's in the process of being translated and written out, because some of the writing's quite difficult, and some of the language is a little bit different. So that and then it's going to be bound into a book, so that there's this history of what it was like to be on a trading boat many years ago on the Cornish seas. So there you go. That's my little bit of Cornwall.
Oh, that's really exciting. What an amazing thing to have. I've got a book. I've got a diary of my ancestor, actually, who went to Australia, and he kept a daily diary.
Wow.
And we've got that from his passage over there from Liverpool. So similarly, I like to make a book of that at some point, get it all transcribed, and because it literally it's just like brings it all into the present moment. Like, people were not that different,
No,
really, from in any age. People are people, and it sort of makes it very intimate.
What surrounds us is different, right?
Yes.
On a day-to-day, but very different. But the hopes and fears of people have forever stayed the same, really, I guess. I mean, people who are from a lower station, or have in a walk of life where it's harder, and day to day is a struggle, money wise, or whatever, have always struggled.
It's always been the way.
Yes. Yeah, and those that have a bit more have maybe have a different struggle, but it's fascinating, isn't it? It's fascinating to see see from the past and learn from the past as well. What's your fascination with the sea? Because I love the sea as well. We are now in Somerset, so we're not that far from you.
Okay.
And we are probably about 40 minutes from Lyme Regis, etc., and that
right.
the Jurassic coastline, which is for me again a great piece of coastline to be near.
Yeah.
And I can say safely that if I'm having a bad day, I want to go to the sea.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your relationship with the sea?
I think there's just been a massive pull always. I grew up in, well, it wasn't Somerset, it was Avon at that point, North Somerset. So the sea was pretty close by. and that was my first experience of it, I guess. And even the Bristol Channel was freeing for me with its mud and its lovely brown color, but it still felt like escape somehow from the being in four walls and
it's just vast, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's just opening. And we would come down to Devon and Cornwall quite a lot in the summer, and for me that was just magic, absolutely magical. I never wanted to go home at the end of the day, so at the end of the week. So I don't know what that is. It's just something for me that I feel the horizon's open, and so do I, and I feel I can just be more awake, really. So moving down here, I'd spent 15 years in London beforehand, which was a good time, a really, really good time, and amazing to be part of a very creative community, both where I was in Southeast London and across the whole of London. So those years were full and rich, but eventually I just felt very hemmed in, and I felt dwarfed and dominated by this city and everything that's going on there, and I wanted to have more space. So myself and my partner Neil were looking at where we could go, and the pull down here just became stronger and stronger because we had been coming down quite a lot. So we thought, well, why not just go where we feel we want to be? And that was now 20 years ago. So I've actually lived here longer than I've lived anywhere.
Yeah,
in my life.
me too. I grew up in Bedford area, a little village called Wootton, which was just outside of Bedford. It's not little anymore. Like lots of these things, when I was born, I looked at it the other day on the census. There were 3,500 people there, and it's now like 15,000 people there or something. It's it's just gone
sprawled. Yeah,
like that. And the last time I went back there, which was probably about 7 or 8 years ago now, all of the fields that I used to cross to get to school in the mornings when I walked to school, that's all housing estate now, and it's all it's quite unrecognizable.
So you literally can say this was all fields when I was a boy.
Yeah. They paved paradise and up a parking lot, as it were. But it's it's funny. I've spent a lot of my time in London. I spent a lot of my time with music in London. I used to help run a club night in London at one stage, and I've also worked quite a bit in London, even from when I'm down here. And actually, because of my roots on my other side, my mum's side, that's all from my granddad was born a Cockney, so he was born in Bow. And there's something about it. When I go back to London, I feel at home, but I also feel at home here. And there's quite a weird dichotomy going on there. I love the kind of people bustle element of London, and I love the melting pot of culture and everything that you get from that. But I do love then coming back and retreating into the country. Do you kind of feel that way with cities and things now?
Yes, I do. I've been going up to London more often the last few years. I do feel very at home there, and I think although in some ways the city's got faster and um, uh, yeah, the technology's obviously changed things since I first moved there, which was 1988 or whatever it was.
Oh, you
And
don't even have to buy a ticket now to get on the bus. You literally, I mean,
no, oh, that was years ago that completely took me by surprise, and I felt so stupid having not been for a while. But yeah, now I just really enjoy it, and I just make the most of it while I'm there. And I just know so many lovely people there, so I can, catch up with them all and go and see music with them. And, it's a real buzz to be there. And then it's amazing when the train pulls back in here alongside the water, and I think, wow, now I'm here. And this water is the dominant force, and nature is what's holding my life. And it just feels,
do you know what?
of course it is in London as well, but it doesn't always feel like that.
I'm going to say I always really enjoy that journey by train, because as you go towards London, you feel the buzz of people getting greater and greater and greater. But then as you come back out of London, you get down to the other end, the train gets quieter and quieter, and you can feel the outside getting quieter and quieter as well. And it's quite amazing. You can actually feel that transcendence between this big urban sprawl and the kind of quiet of the southwest. It's a lovely feeling. So someone should write an album about it.
Yeah.
The train from London to Cornwall. There you go. There's the next album. But let's talk about this album. So it's called Lethowsow. Is that right? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's very good. Your Cornish roots are standing you in good stead there.
Thank you. And that means the milky ones. Yes.
It means the milky ones. Yeah. And it's quite interesting actually, because there's been a few people I've spoken to, like I spoke to somebody from Brazil, Portuguese speaker, and he said, and pronounced the word, in Portuguese, and it meant the same thing. And it feels like it's very familiar in Ireland as well, the word as well. So it's Cornish obviously has all these links, to
travel. Because we used to trade from here, right?
Absolutely. And because it's got links with Breton language, so that was a bit of a revelation to me. But it means the milky ones, and it was coined as a name for the Seven Stones Reef, which is between Land's End and Scilly. A dramatic natural phenomenon that's claimed a lot of ships in the past, and it's sort of the Seven Stones Reef and its changing appearance as sort of mapped time, really, because these are mountains, rooted on the seabed in deep water that are now just little points, little shark's teeth, they call them as well. So they're always milky, they're always surrounded by frothing white water, they're never going to be calm. And what a brilliant way to describe them. So I thought that just brought the image into my head straight away, and I felt like it was magical, and it just conjured up so many layers of stuff that I would use that word.
As you were saying that, my mind was taken back, and I'm sorry for doing this, but my mind was taken back, I think, a few years ago, and I can't remember what film it was around. It might have been Moana or something like that, but Pixar made this film it's like a short about mountains, and these mountains like stood proud, and then water came and took them over years, and then literally just a little bit was coming out, and then magic happened in this film, because magic can happen in films, and the water came back down to reveal their presence again, which
yeah.
was quite something. But yeah,
Well,
I mean,
in the legend of Lioness, they were taken all in one go in a massive flood, and the only person to escape the coming of the water was this nobleman from Somerset, actually, on a white horse, who managed to outrun the waves. And there's something involved in that on their family crest, but it basically it became all about him.
yeah. Where did he get the white horse from? Was that from Wiltshire? Because it's the white horse.
He was coming from Lioness, or from
Right.
oh no, was it that one? Yeah, from the hills.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this seems to be, when I did my research, seems to be generally just sort of accepted as the explanation. Whereas
Like that.
so I sort of favour the melt of the ice age, and that was over the whole of northern Britain and the north coast, and it came slowly up.
Yeah, I love how on these, what is it, 6, 7 tracks? Seven tracks, yeah. That you've put out. I love how some of the sounds that instrumental sounds that you've used, like, will be used to make the sound of water, or give that impression of water.
Yeah, and interestingly, I didn't set out to do that.
Oh right, it just happened.
And I think it's ended up being sort of talked about, and after the album was made, I realised, oh yes, it's happening in a certain way in every track, really.
Yeah.
And I think it was just embedded in the way that songs were written, but I hadn't really realised that was what I was doing. So It's lovely to then feel that is the case, and I'm really happy that for people, those C rhythms, they feel them sort of physically.
Yeah. Why do you think that happened? Do you think it is because you kind of, in a way, kind of thinking and breathing in pace with the sea when you were writing these songs? Do you think that then probably just translated into?
Yes, I think so. I think just the visual and sort of physical stimulation of, say, for example, Mount's Bay Morning, of being there on the promenade with the sea on a particularly kind of vital, kind of blustery, movementy moment with its white horses and everything. I think just the way that takes your breath away and lifts you up and fills you with energy and excitement. I think I'm sitting there writing the song, and I'm doing that, but I wasn't thinking of, I must make it like the water. I must kind of like emulate I think it was just that experience somehow being physicalized and going into the rhythmic patterns.
I am pretty certain that there's an element for musicians, certainly musicians that get in touch with history and get in touch with nature and actually are open to those elements when they're writing. It's, in a way, it's a little bit like acting, where a good actor kind of actually steps out of themselves and into that actual environment, and they can't help but sort of embody that in some way, because they've kind of transcended out of where they normally are into that. That's great that you've achieved that then, isn't it? Because that's in a way
really lovely. Yeah, it's really nice. And I think that the other thing is that those experiences, you can have them firsthand, and you can conjure, like you're saying, you can conjure them up in yourself.
Yeah.
In order to play the song, or while listening to the song, and then some kind of transformation maybe happens through having gone down to the prom, or having played the song or listened to the song of the same, that's got the same essence to it. So yeah, it's all quite amazing stuff, isn't it? The things that we humans can do,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you've got some great players on this album as well. Do you want to just go through some of them? And I know one of them, because one of them has been on here on MyMusic, which is Angeline Morrison, who has a tremendous voice, and also has a tremendous knack for what we were just talking about as well, really kind of embodying history and understanding that.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, I'll start with Greg and Ben, who were my core. So we've been playing together since 2018 in Ben's case, and from Greg before that. And so we had played these songs a lot live, and we wanted to just capture the spirit in the studio. So it was really great to have them there, and we all knew what we were going for. I didn't have to explain that energy. And then I wanted to bring in more voices. I haven't had the opportunity to do that before. I've arranged for brass and different sounds, but I kind of crazily, although I've been a community singing leader sometimes and made choirs happen, I haven't put it onto my recordings. So Angeline was a natural choice because, as you say, she is very much, her voice is so embodied, and she, I knew that she would understand when to be light, when to be warm, when to what to bring to it, which she absolutely did, and made it her own. Particularly the little counter lines on Washing Line, I felt the way she articulated them was so beautiful, and I think her articulation is very special, her phrasing. So that was a joy. And Maria Hesseltine is a joy, a really experienced singer who also, just brought everything she had to some quite challenging vocals on Mounts Bay Morning sometimes. So I was very lucky also to have her input. And then there was also my daughter, May Robson, who sang on Music of the Waves and brought her special kind of silky tone to that. Really lovely to be singing with family and to blend my voice with hers. So it was all just lovely, and something I'd love to do more of. I also asked Benjamin Pollock to play harp, and that was a revelation too, that what that instrument could do. I mean, we're talking about magical, transformative stuff. Bringing the harp in, for example, at the end of Swimming, to just take it off into otherworldly places was felt absolutely right. And he made that happen with such, so beautifully. So it was all good. And then Treve Nicol came in at the very end of the process to add some bass to Ty comes in and nail that groove. So a lot of input, a lot of unique, wonderful musicians. And I have to say that's a massive part of what it's all about for me. I've never yet made an album on electronic instruments, and it means it's a a longer, more complex process, I think, possibly, to produce an album. But it's really important to me that those other voices are there, and I love real instruments.
Yeah.
So,
It's honestly an absolutely beautiful album. And I
thank
think it encapsulates that part of the world wonderfully. I'll be surprised if the Cornish tourist board don't actually do something with it. They really should do. You know,
I haven't called yet, but
well,
I'll hold it.
perhaps we should tag them in and make it happen.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, please. You know, that would be nice to be understood and respected down there, which would be good. And the singing with family thing as well. I think that's so special. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, you're actually near neighbours in a way with Tori Amos, who actually has a place down in Cornwall as well, and of late on her more recent albums are sung with her daughter. I think that's a very special moment in any artist's career when their children get to the age where they can fully contribute with the music and almost feel like it's like a handing on thing as well. You know, I had Eliza Carthy on here one time, who you will probably know, and you know, speaking about the beautiful relationship with her now dearly departed mother, but you know, I think she'd probably be very proud that she made those albums with her mum when she could, you know.
Yeah, what an incredible contribution that family's made to music in this country.
Yeah, no, unbelievable, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. I mean, May is a musician in her own right, and has released a few singles and an EP recently. So, you know, in a very, very different style.
Yeah.
She's not singing about Cornwall. So it still resonates for her, and I think it's singing with her. We can enter that space, because she did join me live last summer in London. We can enter that space together when we're singing it as well, which is anywhere,
because you've shared it.
Quite a thing, because we've
shared
both conjured it up in our minds. We've physically shared it together.
It's better than any photograph. Better than any photograph, Kelsey. Absolutely. Listen, I could talk to you all day, but I won't, because you're busy, and you know, the people out there are probably busy too. But I hope they've enjoyed our conversation as much as I have. For anybody that hasn't checked out your music so far, goodness knows why not. Your album is available to buy on Bandcamp. Okay,
that's right. It's Dimple Discs Bandcamp.
Yeah, Dimple Discs, who have produced some great music, folks. Very varied, very interesting music, but they put out some amazing, some of the most amazing songs actually over the last few years, and they are an album label to really kind of look after, as are the people at Analog Trash, obviously. That look after this program. They won't mind me saying, because they've actually got a very close relationship with Dimple Discs as well. Anyway, and you know, I think in this day and age, independent music sticks together. Really.
Yeah, I think I get the impression that that's true, and you know, there's a lot of independent music going on, and supporting each other makes so much sense. And what you say about Dimple Discs is absolutely spot on. There are some incredible artists on the label, and it's the stuff that you're not going to hear anywhere else. you know, there's vintage organ chaos from Jude Montague, and there's the happy couple who I played with in the summer, who, you know, David plays the mouth bow and the Jew's harp, and the, you know, in combination with the dulcimer, and you know, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So it's opened my eyes, you know, being on the label to all the
They're, on the one hand, they're quite innovative, and on the other hand, it's almost like a preservation society. It's also making sure that these things carry on, and more people learn about them. You know, that's actually really important. You know, we need music to be. We need some music to be grounded in heritage, and we need some music to be grounded in history as well, so that, you know, we don't forget about these things, and we don't lose the tales and the folklore and the, you know, the things that make or made now happen, right? Because whilst the future for all of us is important, what went in the past is really important as well. So it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. If you've been listening, please do go and check out Kelsey's music on Bandcamp. Even better, stop and buy some, you know, because that helps. Every little helps, as Tesco say. Other supermarkets are available. And Kelsey, just thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. It's been a really lovely chat, and yeah, maybe I'll see you down in Cornwall sometime.
Undoubtedly,
visiting your ancestral home.
Well, we do go on holiday there every year, so it will happen. We are back to Bodmin again soon, so maybe we'll bump into each other at a service station somewhere. This has been My Music, folks. I hope you've enjoyed today's chat. If you have, then please do share it with your friends and family. Don't forget as well, we have started what Kelsey and I were talking about there a minute ago. We have started the My Music community, which I shall invite Kelsey into. And that's like a little online community of people that love independent music. And you can come into that as well. And you can talk to the different artists that are there, etc. And I'm trying to help artists to cultivate community within there, and we're also teaching stuff in there, which is rather nice. I'm teaching digital skills. Other people are teaching things like things around neurodiversity, and there's things in there about sort of financial fitness and whatever. There's so much going on in there. It's just brilliant, and it's all people trying to help each other. So there we go. If you fancy doing that, you can find out more at mymusicpodcast.com, where you can also hear the story of why this all started, this podcast, etc. I'll be back soon with more of the same. But until then, from Kelsey and me, bye for now.